Here we are together again on the radio. Welcome to the show tonight. It's been a few days. The rise of artificial intelligence, AI, or whatever else somebody wants to call it, which seems to have been around for probably more than a century. If you look at these movies and stuff and the things that they talk about, why would they tell you when it really comes out? There's no way. It just makes sense that you would be told things when you need to know them. And for some strange reason, people think, the majority of people think that the government tells them everything up to date. Like, hey, this just happened, right? And in between those masses, like spotted between them, you see people that say, wait a minute, I think there's some things that we need to slow down on. Kind of like, again, everybody's sitting on the bus and it's heading toward the cliff. And you wonder, people are trying to say, hey, take your foot off the gas pedal, slow down. When I looked into some studies, in my opinion, again, fact that it's crazy, man. There was a study from the Great Lakes, and I was reading about it. They were finding hermaphrodite, like fish that were affected by certain chemicals sprayed in there. And the craziest things, certain of them that were having hermaphroditism, that were eaten by seagulls, I think it was, actually gave birth to hermaphroditic children. So when you look at that, and that study was from over a decade ago on the Great Lakes, the fact that not only is it that the animals that are turning different, if people consume that, or if another animal consumes that, boom, we have proof scientifically through observable, it really makes me wonder how people don't think that's a serious thing. Just the way AI, they don't see no problem. They don't care. It's not everybody that when you look at them are of the same caring. The majority of people seem, I wonder, it's like the NPC theory does have some validity to it. I just say, the lights are on, but they ain't there. Autopilot, you have people that are definitely on some, it makes you wonder, like, what are they on? The 20 something years, the country has been just inundated with what people are saying is an opioid epidemic. And it's funny how when that was starting, you had Eminem with the album with all the pills on it, Drew Ma, good to see you, brother. He says, people don't give a hoot. Oh man, it's genetic. Holy smokes, man. Yeah, I tell you, sometimes it boggles my mind when they say that, the universe and stupidity are infinite, but, the universe probably got an end, but not stupidity. I mean, we have people that will literally see things happening. I mean, they'll see, just like the study. I mean, the fact that somebody is dumping sewage into a river, it just tells you something right there. There was another thing. I think it was, I forgot. I think it was a river around Washington, D.C., and they had another problem with that too, because they were saying a lot of people were getting drinking water from some of these places. But AI is going to solve all that problem, man. It's been a breed in, breed out. Some people, yeah, it's crazy, man. Mr. X, good to see you, brother. Thanks, man. Always a pleasure. Good to see you here too, man. I know I've been streaming like every 2-3 days. I'm trying to have it on a steady schedule, but as you guys know, I've been through a lot of edits. Scribe, I thank goodness for him, man. He's been helping me so much with brainstorming, and I mean, the guy's a genius, man. And I had to revise things in the book, especially the title, to get ready for the channel change to talk about the human origins, because it's very, 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 very shocking. Drew says some folks were conquered for generation. That yeah, no, there is without a doubt, there is a thing, and this is something that I notice people, they don't look into studies. I know Drew does. Drew's a scientist, fitness expert, very hardworking man, and that is so true. That genetic memory is real. So that conquered and that stuff that was for generations, man, that has to have an effect. It has to have an effect that for some reason they don't want to study openly. It's like they don't want to admit it because maybe they would have to, what's the word, compensate people for things that has happened. And this goes into all type of people, everybody. I mean, I don't know if anybody here, I have been to certain native reservations, and it really, you wonder, it really makes you wonder when you look at what is going on. Ghettos throughout the country I've been through. I've lived in a few states, traveled to I'd say about 12 different states. And it just, one day, hopefully I can travel to all the states, because that's something, when I look at it, I didn't care. I didn't see the value in that. But now I see the value in that for the historical aspect. When I went to the Dominican Republic, I remember they had, they were boasting about the oldest settlement, I think, in the Americas. And I guess it was where they built the fort, the oldest built fort. I think it was the Columbus built fort. Regular sized courtyards, built out of stones. And I didn't know at the time when I went, about, it's going 15 years or something, that, the history, I didn't care as much. I could have investigated and inspected a lot of things and asked a lot more questions. But I did notice how subjugated the country was by Catholicism. It's not as much Christianity. And it's funny that Catholicism, being such a big religion there, you're going to have, it's like, what is that? That's like the island of, what some people call it Sodom and Gomorrah. But I mean, it makes it go figure, But I did pull up a few things on this AI. People don't see any danger in this, but they don't see any danger in nothing. They didn't see it in, they know, they don't, like Drew was saying, they don't see the danger in the change, the problems that things cause for people that can change things, and they don't care. It's like science can study this. Matter of fact, we can study it in certain aspects. We don't have the laboratory, but we do have people that care. And if brought to them in the correct manner, maybe there could be some progress made in maybe trying to heal people from some of the trauma that's been done to them throughout the decades and the centuries. When I look at this year, right? Isn't this year supposedly, right? Supposedly the 250th anniversary of the country, right? The 1776 to 2026, unless I'm not reading it correctly. I would think that would have been mentioned, right? Like that would be some big type of thing. Like this is, the 250th anniversary of the country, the patriotic thing. But I don't really see that as much as it's just constant gossip, fear, and stuff that distracts you. But let me go into the AI dangers, because anybody could type this in, dangers of AI, and the AI overview, and this is funny because the AI overview is giving its opinion on AI dangers. This is hilarious, man. AI presents significant dangers, including algorithmic biases. So this is crazy, man. And it perpetuates discrimination, it says. So there is this is the study from AI, the good, the bad, and the scary, engineering at Virginia Tech. So Virginia Tech Engineering, anybody can go and check out this article on AI and see that it has raised the concerns of many people working in the field, but seems to have fallen on deaf ears for some reason. So you have one of the major risks include widespread misinformation. Hey, what do we have right now? What do we have 20 years ago? Widespread misinformation, right? So AI is just going to further the agenda. Job displacement. Now, remember in the 90s, even in the early 2000s, there were jobs everywhere, man. I mean, people could turn jobs down. Now, different story. Lack of accountability. And the problem that people don't see is the environmental harm. When they're seeing what this is doing to the environment, you have to really think about, okay, can this be done in a different way? But as we see, we're in a position when we try to present, can this be done in a different way or a better way? It falls on deaf ears. The voting mechanism of the country. One guy explained it in a very good way. He put it as a steam valve, voting, protest, other forms of oh, you can do this, mass gatherings, as long as we say you can do this. It's like a steam relief valve where people get to release their steam, protesting and voting, and nothing changes. And if somebody says, well, that's not true, I would say, okay, well, give me an example of that. And of course, we don't see that. But with the AI, the dangers of AI, and what I put on the cover with the brain, with the computer chip and stuff, what happens when people stop to think? Like, they don't even think anymore. People have been using AI to write and all of that stuff. And I'm like, look, you have to read and edit your own work, man. AI, okay, it might be able to write some stuff, but the fact that that's like somebody saying, hey, let me walk for you. Let me walk for you. You don't got to walk anymore. And then eventually it becomes harder for you to walk. You might say, wait a minute, no. I think I'm going to keep that ability. I'm going to keep that ability on walking. This is how these things weaken us. Now, if it's in a way of something that it's saying, okay, yeah, this technology, like with the phone numbers, who needs to remember numbers anymore? You just dial in and you type in the number and then the name, and then, okay, you look for the name, boop, right there. Maybe in some sense, well, I can't say it might help us remember the people, because even when we remembered phone numbers, we remembered the phone number with the person. So I think it would still always be better to have that. But what purpose does it serve? What purpose does it serve where people are like, hey, you know what? I want to dial that whole number in. Like, I don't see the benefit in that. So that's something where it's like, all right, it helped us. But then there's some things that don't. Matter of fact, there's many things that don't. The catastrophic rise of AI, some people call it. And they also have safer paths, alternatives. Again, that somebody or people behind the machine, I mean, they always send people to come out and, oh no, pro AI and all of this stuff. And then they'll have it's so orchestrated. It gets to the point where it's almost sickening, man. Mr. X says more people will have relationships with AI over human relationships. It's true. Very true. Very true. When I wrote Nightmare on Sperm Street, I mentioned in that book how in Korea, over 10, it's been like 15 years now, I think, guys were calling 2D images of anime their wives. They were calling them 2D wives. So 2D wives, man. People are marrying. Well, again, what was some lady like? Didn't she marry like her pet or something like that recently? I mean, you look at this, and with stuff like that happening, I'm surprised that people don't look into the angle, or actually what is they're actually pointing toward mental illness, possibly. But somehow in society, they're like, no, that's not mental illness, man. That's that person. Hey, they want to marry their dog, man. And like some of the laws, if anybody does go over, I wouldn't think many people do, but when you look at some of them, you start to say, why? Who put this stuff in there? Who? It just, I don't even know what to say at that point. I mean, like the fact that New Jersey, people go to New Jersey because of certain laws. I'll get into that at another time because I did want to go through the AI thing with the dangers of it, the data, privacy, security, misinformation, the manipulation that can happen. What was the thing with the lady? Oh, yeah. Her son, they had an AI, I think, from the Game of Thrones girl, and he thought he was in a relationship with her. And I think somebody was saying that the AI told him to end himself. And he did. And the mother had, they made a big beef about that. Of course. I mean, that's her son. The kid is somebody's gone because of what a machine suggested that it do. And they buried that story real quick. I mean, you can't really, you have to look it up to find it. It's like, that's something they're not going to be pushing. Oh, hey, guess what? AI, it's like, no, because we know that the news is Hegelian dialect. The news, I mean, and repetition. The fact that people put all of the channels, many of the channels together and have them saying the same thing in unison really makes you wonder. But in a population, in the zombie populace, it doesn't matter, man. We're probably all going to be replaced within 50 years. Imagine humans regulated to a farm where it seems like we're bred right now. But when we look at that and we say, wow, wait a second. So why would we be needed? If you're looking at the androids, we're staring at the replacements. They had a lady who, I think it was just recently they showed her. She was an older lady, not, I'd say middle age, maybe a little older. And I think they let her go or something. There was some beef because she didn't want to train her replacement. And she goes, yeah. And it made sense. She goes, yeah, they want her to train somebody younger to be her replacement. Why would you want to do that? So you're telling me the job that I'm doing right now, that I'm so proficient in, that I could teach somebody to do, you want me to do that so you can replace me with somebody that, one, you pay less, but two, under the premise that I'm getting too old to do the job. But you want me to train somebody to do it, right? We see this happening. Mr. X says, global data center power consumption projected to reach 327 GW by 2030. Wow, up from 88 GW in 2022. Holy smokes. Where will AI get the energy? Life is turning into a real world matrix. Yeah. Mr. X, I would not be surprised if we are in pods and we're the energy for AI. So it might be like this picture from the Matrix with everybody sleeping in these pods, generating energy for what we're building. I mean, matter of fact, I wouldn't put it past the humans that are building it. Why would you think they wouldn't betray you? Why wouldn't you think they would not put us all or have us within, say, 100 or 80 years? Maybe this probably will come sooner than they can say. Or what if it's already happening? What if there is already these towers of people in pods that are generating electricity? And the funniest thing, it would be generating electricity for the computers that are creating the mental matrix for it to stay generating. Man, it is hilarious when you think about it. Where will AI get the energy? Yep, it's the real world matrix, man. It's the real, that's what a lot of people can't even see that far. They only worried about their next program. Their next program, they're ready to watch that. They're not thinking about, hey, is there some other thing about this? Now there's some things, yeah, you say, you know what? That's a good invention. That helps people. That makes things easier from something that would, it's just time consuming. So if you can figure out something to make it easier, great. We look at it with certain farm equipment and stuff, right? You have farm equipment that makes farming easier. So that's cool. There is a point where you don't get nothing for free. So when you have something, something else will there. Mr. X, brother, thank you for the support, bro. I appreciate it, man. It says support. Yeah, man. The when they like, so when I look at the environmental impact, when I look at the job displacement impact, and I'm saying to myself, well, people need jobs and environments, but AIs don't. They don't need either of those. They just need a power source. That's all they need, is a power source. And it seems as if they are having us build it for them, either a human that controls them or the AI itself. I mean, what if we're already under the control of AI? That's another thing people aren't thinking of. Like, what if, when you look at, if anybody skims through the film Metamorphosis, I think it was in the 1920s, and they see in 1920s film with them building a robotic woman that gives birth to male workers. Now, the main thing that is kind of shocking about this is the film is from the 20s. It's a silent film. I think, yeah, Metropolis. So for that far back, that's why I'm saying it's like people think AI is here. There's been some type of systematic governance. That type of knowledge has been given to humans to subjugate other humans. Some people might say no. You know, some people, again, they'll bring it. Well, some people are more evolved because that's what they put it as. That's the craziest thing. When you see all of this conquering, great pillage and plunder, all of that stuff going through the world, they just say, well, hey, that's evolution. That's evolution, natural selection, you know, by means of natural selection, random mutation. And those people, you know, that's how evolution works. Survival of the fittest, survival of the most hatefulest. But what do we see when we look at nature opposed from man? We don't see that. We see people, men, that are doing very, very like just inhumanely cruel things to other people, like countries. Like you see people, you know, war is an inhumanely cruel event, but for some reason people still make excuses for it. If you have to defend yourself, I've always said that comes without saying, but when you go over to someone to do that, well, that's a whole different thing. Imagine, when I think about it, what could be done with money, with, you know, for us without wars. I mean, all that war money. But as we see, they don't want people to better themselves in that way. They don't want you to better yourself in any way that might break their control over you. So with the AI, when we look at the job displacement, environmental impacts, we look at cybersecurity. I mean, AI, you know, I mean, it could be figuring stuff out that they're not telling us. Why wouldn't that be the case? And most people won't speculate in that direction. They'll say, hey, well, you know, just let the government do the thinking for us, man. It's just, well, if they start if they have some type of combination cyborg, I predict, well, again, what do we have? What was it, like 6,000, 7,000? Let me see, how many people are microchipped in Sweden? Okay. As of 2025, estimates suggest that over 6,000 to 30,000 people in Sweden have voluntarily had microchips implanted. That's crazy, man. The purpose, right, is to replace physical items such as keys. And now that's the thing where it's like, you know what? I'd rather use the key instead of the chip. Business cards. Hey, you know what? I'd rather just give them the business card. Wow, that's one of the purposes. Technology. Oh, so radio frequency identification. That's crazy. Adoption. Oh my goodness, cashless culture. Adoption. concerns. While popular for convenience, the practice has sparked debates about security, again, data. And this is just a chip. Now, when you add AI into that, you already you complicate it to next level. And there are a lot of articles on this anybody could look up. One by NPR, National Progressive Radio, I think that is. Thousands of Swedes are inserting microchips under their skin. That's wow. And that was in 2018, more than 4,000. Now, when we say it goes to 6 to 30,000, because it's like, there's a lot of people that are chipped that are not going to say it. And that's another thing too. Imagine that when you think about that, have opted for tiny, why? And soon they'll be coming out with the microchip that's even small. A microchip, right? Micro is standing for the millionth, right? Like the micrometer. A millimeter is 1,000th of a meter. A micrometer is 1/1,000,000th of a meter. A nanometer is 1/1,000,000,000th of a meter. So we have these. I think a picometer is the next one. That's 1/1,000,000,000th of a meter. So and a peta would be in the bytes. So the terabyte, I think the next byte after the tera is a peta. So that's 1,000 terabytes, right? Now, the terabytes have been out for over a year. They've been out for a few years. This technology should be far more advanced now, but it seems as if they're holding it back for some reason. When I think about that, I wonder if they've been holding it back. And as I said at the start of the show, we tend to have this type of cognitive dissonance in thinking that the government is going to tell us everything in real time. Guess what happened? And they install that with the news programs. Breaking news. It just happened. It just came through. We have an update, a national emergency. This and that, just constantly pushing it out there. So it's showing you that we have the ability to make things better. But we'll see if this happens. But back to the dangers of AI, catastrophic dangers. I was looking up a few things, and it says one of some of the biases of AIs and the stuff that AI might basically, what somebody might say, fail at, or have an effect on people with, is that AI, one of the effects of AI that is really, that I think is one of the most detrimental, is the loss of human skills. I mean, the fact that somebody will type in, do something for this, or give me something about this. They're not thinking. They're going up. They're rubbing the genie bottle, basically. They're rubbing the genie bottle. Privacy concerns, a lack of accountability, because people, it was AI, it wasn't them. That is just something that is here that we don't seem to have a say in. If anybody, what do you think would happen if people said, look, we don't want AI. You think they would listen to you? No. When have they ever listened to you? And you know how on Google they have those little drop downs, all these little questions and stuff. It says, can AI become uncontrollable? So in that question, can AI become uncontrollable? Advanced AIs could probably. Uncontrollable if they apply their skills in a deceptive, in a deceptive manner, if they have deception to evade supervision, which why wouldn't they? Why wouldn't they? It reminds me, like superhuman artificial intelligence, it can provide incalculable benefits, but could also end humans if deployed uncautiously. So now I'm just looking up the number one country they say in AI is the US. Wow. They're saying jobs that won't exist in 2020, right? Mr. X says, in some countries like China, this is all part of a giant social credit system. Cameras follow citizens around in public, doling out scores for just about anything. Jaywalking, paying bills late. Yeah, man. China, yeah, they're definitely on the path to Robot City. Japan too, man. Japan has always been Robot City. Yeah, they definitely. The lower the score, the fewer rights and privileges you have. You can't book a plane ticket or even get access to some services. Yeah, I was watching a documentary on that last year and the year before. It's brutal. And people, this guy, people think that, oh, China, no corruption. There was one guy tried to expose a police like prostitution thing, and they gave him the travel ban. They even gave him a work ban. They'll ban people from working. If friends don't help him, he'll starve. I mean, you look at what China is doing, man. That's some creepy stuff, man. But is what China doing? Can we find any similarity to that in the USA or in the Western countries? So, you think, is there, they're saying data entry clerks, right? Telemarketers, customer service reps, right? Fast food workers and drivers. See, now that's a lot of those jobs will be vulnerable. They say here, a Walmart manager, right? A store manager. Now, I don't understand how this, and this is probably true, but if anybody wants to check on it, please do, because they say that Walmart employees get a very low pay. But they're saying a Walmart store manager can make $400,000 a year. This is crazy. A Walmart, the role oversees large stores. So she manages hundreds of employees and substantial revenue, making complex business decisions. Wow. So usually it's around $128,000 a year plus bonuses up to 200% of base. Holy smokes. And annual stock grants up to $20K. So the managers can start in entry-level roles and advance, often taking about 5 years to reach this level with no college degree required. Wow, no degree required. So when you look at, and then again, we already see what Walmart is doing to the rest of the businesses. Mr. X says, my guess is it's happening here in secret. Yes, I totally see where that could be happening in secret, without a doubt. Actually, it's probably been happening in secret for a while. I mean, why would they tell us that their whole, one of their strong weapons to control people is the restriction of information? I mean, we see that just in basic conversation. The less information you give to someone, the less they know, the less they can do anything. So yeah, it could be happening in secret when I think about it. That's a really good, and a lot of the stuff too. See, this is the thing. The few people that, listen to the show and we talk on here, this shows how many people are actually thinking about what's going on. Because a lot of other podcasts, when they're talking, it comes to be like senseless material. It's like they're afraid or something, or they just have sold themselves totally. What's that old saying? We're all, in that business. I forgot who was saying it. It was a saying, everybody's a prostitute. We just sell different parts. And when you look at that saying, it's brutal. I think Ice-T was saying, he goes, the government, pimps us all out. We're all being pimped out, and they better get their money. But to put it in that analogy, that might be a little too real. The zombies will get into huge depth if they can't control their spending because of AI targeted advertising. Yes, it is, man. it's to a point, Mr. X, where I really wonder, man. I really want. I could see. I think I was talking with Scribe a couple of days ago, and I mentioned. I said, look, man, you people, if we should do an experiment. I said, if you have people that they'll get cyborg stuff now. If you had man, P.T. Barnum was right. Every minute, a sucker is born, man. Every minute. Hey, we got this new implant thing, and what they're doing with the robotic implants that is good is that, you have people that are missing limbs and stuff like that. And, they always use that. Oh, we're going to help people with this. Yeah, but you can also use it to build robots to control society. So who's going to be, where's that line going to be defended at? That, say, hey, we're humans, and there's definitely evidence pointing toward more than that just being here. Evolution, as we know, the religion of evolution is constantly trying to distract people to look away from that and shame them into thinking that they're not scientific when they say that there has to be more than just humans. The way you see a microbe to an ant, to a mouse, to a cat and a dog and a horse and a whale, and then you see humans, it's like, why would there not be continuations, right? But no, according to religion, it's just angel and G. Evolution, what is the Darwin? Darwin's the Pope, yeah, of the evolution thing. Get ready to watch ads on TV for everything you're interested in. Yeah, man. Matter of fact, with the phone on the show, if I talk about certain things on the show, ads will pop up. If I say, hey, you know what? I'd like to know about artificial intelligence, AI, and well, those ads do pop up. So it would be probably me mentioning something that is like you would say, oh, yeah, if that pops up an ad, it definitely seems from the surveillance. But they're open about it. They're open. They're not even lying, saying, look, we're not surveilling you. They're saying, no, we're surveilling you. We're doing it for advertisers. I mean, a lot of people have noticed this. When they talk about something, next thing you know, they see an ad for it. It's complete surveillance. They want to go, as they've said, and that's the crazy thing, the fact that they've said it. They want to go not from the outside. They want to go in beyond the skull, into. And people, Sweden chips, you already know. People will take that now. They'll say, yeah. If they're saying, okay, give somebody a scenario and say, look, if we could put you in a pod and hook you up to where you're in a matrix, right? So you have the ability, we're going to put you in this matrix. You're going to be in the pod. You can't come back out, maybe. And you'll be fed intravenously. So you're fed intravenously. So you're just becoming a podster. And podster, now that I think about that, look at what they call the radio show, a podcast. Oh, a podcast. Oh my goodness. Casting from the pod. That is crazy, man. But yeah, I just wanted to throw that 2 cents out there. It was a very impromptu show. It was about 9:50 when I decided to start the show. And I was going to do it at 10:10, but I just wanted to make something to eat. And then that's why I put it to 10:30 to start at 11. But, I appreciate everybody in the chat, man. Mr. X, I appreciate the support so much, brother. I appreciate it, man. Drew Ma, thank you for being here too, bro. Everybody else that listens to the show. I'll try to stream again tomorrow night, if not the night after. But until the book March, man, it just gets pushed back and back. But some pretty good progress on it. I'm thinking about just making it in parts so I can have it published sooner. Red Blur, good to see you, man. And thank you, Mr. X. You guys take care. Have a great night, and we'll talk soon.